The Hierotek Circle is a group of Necrons spearheaded by a Kryptek doing missions for the good of the home world. What is a Necron, you may ask? And what is a Kryptek? Usually as a Hierotek Circle, your mission is to collect knowledge, hinder progress of your enemies, usually other Necrons, and all that jazz that comes with plots of universal domination. That's all the plan anyway, and if it goes well, then you're in good hands. If.
What do you mean by that?
The whole gist of the Necrons is that they are as close to the undead as we're getting in the 40k universe, and pretty close they are because they just won't die. Necrons are spooky silver skeletons, and they want you to know it. Their two abilities in this kill team are Living Metal and Reanimation Protocol. Living Metal turns damage into a suggestion for the Necrons, as at the start of your turn you regain 2 wounds unless you're a fucking insect. Aww. This does essentially create a buffer for your health bar. The enemies aren't dealing damage to you unless they've already dealt with those 2 wounds, which may take up a whole free attack, like my children do. I forgot I wrote that joke. But let's just say the enemy does manage to whittle you down enough just to kill you. Well, then don't.
Put the Undertaker away!
That's right, just say and resume the onslaught. Whenever one of your operatives die, you can prepare them for reanimation, and at the start of the next turning point, you roll a d6 for each Necron awaiting reanimation. And for each 5 or 6, you can pick one to just not die. They also get some health back, plus the whole living metal bonus. So all in all, death is just a disability to these guys, and my brother in Christ, you're going to be playing the Paralympics soon. Technically, Necrons don't actually die either. If you do, kill them, they just get sent back to their homeworld to be repaired. Which creates a really nice sense of security when you get absolutely demolished on the battlefield because, oh my god, it's going to happen. Now the Hierotek Circle does get some access to some really nice ploys and some really bland ones, if I'm being honest. Generally what I look for in the ploys of a kill team is flavor, and oh boy, do we have some cinnamon, spice, and flour.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Look, the strategic ploys leave much to want, and while they do give answers to the team's prominent weaknesses, they don't really feel like Necrons. They just feel like token ploys that any team could have had. This isn't a bad thing per se, I just prefer my gimmicks and my flavors, so if it seems like I'm bashing these a lot, don't take them as if they're objectively bad. I just like my gimmicky play, whether it is competitively viable or not, which it still isn't. But when we get onto those tactical ploys, we have some good ones. Have you ever just wanted to... and then just...
Oh! Almost! Boy, that was close.
Hey, what's up for today, Nettie?
Well, your deathmarks can. Dimensional Translocation lets you keep 1 deathmark in reserve per CP before the game starts, and in the first turning point, you get to just...
Oh! Almost! Boy.
Anywhere on the board, which can really help you hold down some choke points early in the game or guarantee you capture an objective later in the turning point. This is by far my favourite tac ploy for this kill team, and the only reason I even bothered to build a deathmark. Makes me wonder what I could do with 2 more. Then we got Reanimation Protocol, which you know about, and the last 2 which both focus around the Kryptek, which makes sense because he's kind of like the star of the show, but we all know who the real star is. Yippee! Leech Power and Cortical Subjugation show that your Kryptek is a bit of an ass to his followers. Out of energy and can't move, take someone else's. Leech Power lets your Kryptek drain the energy from a Necron's APL for his own gain, much how I drain the life out of anyone when I talk about WarHammer. This can be really helpful when you want to decide where your AP is more suitably spent. Sure, your Immortal could move and take a shot, or your Kryptek could make you, win the game. Speaking of your Kryptek winning the game for you, we have this cortical we have this thing. This lets you redirect any damage to a different Necron as long as it's visible to your Kryptek. Which is funny because a guy shooting doesn't have to be able to see the new targets, so it's just like... I can't stress enough how much I enjoy these ploys as a gameplay enhancer. I don't think they're competitive to any extent, but they reinforce the idea and novelty of playing this team, and I guess the bland ones were necessary for viability, I guess. The Hierotek Circle's tactical operations really exemplify what it means to be Necrons. Unyielding Ancients wants you to have 3 or more operatives within 6 inches of the center of the kill zone, which is already a pretty cheap VP, but if one of those is a Kryptek or a Kryptek, you get a second one, which is pretty amazing because, just like myself, the Kryptek is at his best when he is surrounded by the boys. So, you should always be bringing company with him regardless, but this helps, you know, reinforce that idea. Unearthed Artifice has you do some field research. At the start of the game, you place a token on the map, and you gotta do some digging on that token. If you do manage to dig it up, then you get a point at the end of that turning point. And then also at the end of the game, if you still own it. This will probably be done by your Kryptek, because 2 AP action is pretty taxing when you only have 2 real operatives. Aww. Worthy of study as you pick an enemy operative, and just be like...
Mine.
Just kill that enemy operative and have your Kryptek or Apprentice examine its body to announce, yep, he's dead alright. I don't think this one is good by any means, but I always take it regardless because despite the rules, I like to imagine we pull a Trace in the Infinite and just capture the dude in a Pokeball. Normally I tell my opponent that their Gene Stealer is going to Brazil and have it dragged off the edge of the board.
It's out of here!
Along with this, you also have access to the recon and security tech ops, so if you're trying to play competitively, you have some options, but we also like being a little silly at times, and taking Kazakin to Brazil. I'll be the first to admit it. I like the tech ops we have access to here, and they lead to some pretty fun scenarios. It really feels like your Necrons have an ulterior motive other than the actual main objective, and it's just funnier when the enemy gets in the way of that and you feel like punishing them. Now for the structure, the foundation, the skeleton of your team, if I may, your operatives. Hieroteks lean more to the elite side of kill teams, but aren't as reliant on your operatives just never dying like the Custodians are after just 1 death. This on top of death being an opinion in which the Necrons are biased against, you tend to not to hold a lot of wounds at once, but your real amount of wounds is almost infinite with the amount of regen you have at your disposal. Now with that said, you are weak as a fucking twig.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like
Immortals will be your general rank and file troop of your kill team. The only difference between the Guardian and the Despotek is probably nepotism because they're the exact same in everything but rank. You get your above average wounds and your choice between a Tesla Carbine or Gauss Rifle. Personally, I find the Gauss Rifle to be more iconic, and in terms of lore, they should technically one-shot, but my petition on that is still pending. If you're going up against a horde though, by god, pick the Tesla Carbine, unless you're the type of guy to use a sniper in Black Ops Zombies. The Despotek does get the unique ability amongst these guys to Demand, which pretty much allows a free command reroll for any combat related role, which is honestly really nice for keeping a guy alive when you know he's going to take a lot. I hate to have my dessert this early in this section, but I'm saving the longer ones for later, and there's not a lot to say about the Deathmark other than I love them. Yippee! They may not be the best sniper in kill team, but goddamn do I love teleporting and deleting. I'm not going to say a kill team needs more than one, but I think it should always have at least one, though another never hurts. I mean, like, come on, look at that damage and those modifiers. I think the meme potential here is yet to be explored by most, but once you start, you just can't stop. I do give these guys a lot of shit, but I think it's warranted. You got the Accelerator and the Reanimator, and while their models are gorgeous, they will do nothing but stand there and look pretty. The Accelerator lets you give an AP to any nearby operatives, and the Reanimator allows you to attempt reanimation, effectively doubling how many Necrons can attempt reanimation. But that's it. With a very limited team, I think these guys should just be able to use both abilities individually and leave it at that. The Blastocytes will never stick out. They'll kind of just do their thing and stick in the background while everyone else does their thing, which granted they are support, but the support doesn't feel substantial enough to really benefit that much to your kill team, and I find that really disappointing. Your Kryptek is the leader of your kill team and a big part in how you're going to be playing. You can pick which type of Kryptek you bring, which is always nice. You got the Technomancer, or should I say Reanimation and Living Metal on crack. He takes what your team can already do and multiplies it by 10 with massively increased healing and even more reanimation. The Chronomancer mostly deals with AP manipulation and movement, and your Necrons are very slow, so this is quite helpful, though I was expecting something more along the lines of Dio and the World.
Huh?
And then there's the Psychomancer, which is for more of an aggressive playstyle, but everyone plays because of its sick as fuck model, and we all like to be a little spooky every now and then. I think all of the different Krypteks really fill the boots of a leader by putting emphasis on your kill team's strengths and helps alleviate those weaknesses. Want to live more and die less? Technomancer.
Booyah! Wow!
Happy with the amount of undeath you already experienced, but can't bear the difference in your movement and your opponents? Chronomancer. Are you fucking insane? Psychomancer. Along with this, you get your Apprentice, who not only has a good stat line, but can also cast one of the 2 spells you bring with you, creating almost a mini Kryptek. This also helps not to have all the flavor exclusively be in your Kryptek, and now you can spread that mana mayhem across a wider canvas. Well, that's the Hierotek Circle. As someone who's still new to Kill Team, I love them. Though the kit is mostly just an upgrade sprue, and they rank very poorly in official tournaments, I honestly don't care. I may be looking at this with rose-tinted glasses because spooky, scary skeleton. Yes, you have very clear and very exploitable weaknesses, but if you play into your strengths and just try to have fun, I think you'll have a much more enjoyable and memorable game. My friends don't talk about the times I won, but the times my Deathmark missed 7 shots in a row but never died because they out-healed all their damage the blooded trooper was putting into them.
Die, you motherfucker!
And I feel like the Hierotek Circle leaves a lot of rooms for mistakes, but a lot of room to have fun. My most memorable games are with these guys because I enjoyed playing them, and I enjoy the dynamic they bring. It's just fun. So yeah, that's why you should play the Hierotek Circle. I want to make more of these, and I'm stuck between which ones to do next, but if you have any suggestions, please leave them below. Also, I'm expecting buffs or changes to this kill team at some point in the future, so make sure to keep an eye on Wikipedia or whatever your sources are, since this video may be outdated by the time you watch this. Until next time, see ya.
¿Quieres? Yes! 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 No! 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 Fuck! Shit!